Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today on this session of Unpacking the Tech, following to the Microsoft Build. Throughout this series, we have been discussing different aspects of the technology and the different announcements that happened during Build. My name is Hassam Hussein, and I lead the Microsoft Reactor for Middle East and Africa. The Microsoft Reactors are hubs around the world where developers and startups come to meet, learn, connect, and learn from the open source community, Microsoft partners, Microsoft also teams and cloud advocates all about technology and what's happening in the space. Our reactor here in the region is physically located in the UAE. However, it's been working with all the ecosystems and communities across the Middle East and Africa. And today we have one of these sessions where we are jointly doing a session that is discussing a very important topic, innovating with collaborative apps and low code. I would like to add Hadil to the stage, who has been recently joining our team as a regional cloud advocate in the Reactor MIA. Hadil, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Hussam, for the introduction. Thank you for having me. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening from wherever you are joining us in the world. Welcome to our Microsoft Reactor live stream event. Thank you all for joining us. My name is Hadil Shubair, and I am a regional cloud advocate and data analytics engineer for Microsoft Middle East and Africa. I am based in the UAE, and I host and lead sessions that are related to tech topics. Specifically, my expertise areas are in data science, data analytics, machine learning, and AI, as well as I'm exploring other tech topics like low code and no code, the topic that we'll be talking about today, where I am joined by two amazing, wonderful speakers, Someleze and Gomulamo, who I will have them introduce themselves in a bit. I will be walking through with you all and learning alongside this session as Gomulamo and Someleze lead the main part of the session and tell us more about, low code and what's new in low code and all that stuff. And with that, I will hand it on to Gomulamo and Someleze to introduce themselves, as well as maybe share with us what inspired them to get into low code and get into the field they are into today. Gomulamo, maybe would you like to start?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Homo. I'm a cloud advocate at Microsoft, focused on Power Apps and Fusion development. As a former Microsoft student ambassador, I have always been involved in initiatives that seek to upskill all types of audiences. And I'm especially excited about the future of the Power Platform and the potential that it has to change the way in which we build apps every day, whether that's putting the power back into the subject matter experts and turning them into app makers, or enabling pro devs to build apps faster. I truly believe that the Power Platform and low code in general will become a core technology in the future of software development.
Wow. Hey everyone, my name is Someleze Digo, and I'm a cloud advocate at Microsoft with Lee Stoss' team at the Academic Cloud Advocates team. So what we currently focus on is that we look at students and how we can actually upskill them and give them the power to actually build solutions and build skills. So my current role is actually focused on the Power Platform as the Academic Cloud Advocate in Lee Stoss' team, where we try to actually show students how they can leverage the Microsoft Power Platform, artificial intelligence, and Azure to build solutions to bring them onto the real life. So obviously, I'm also, just like Homo, a recent graduate from the Microsoft Learn Student Ambassadors program, where I was really motivated to actually use the Power Platform to build solutions and teach people how to build solutions using the Microsoft Power Platform so that they can be able to upskill others as well, because the Power Platform is a growing skill around the globe.
Great. Thank you so much, Gomulamo and Someleze. As always, it's a pleasure to have you join this session today. I'm so excited for you guys to share all your knowledge and your learnings and Power Apps, Power Pages, and all that cool low-code stuff. But before we begin, I just wanted to say, just to our audience, just a gentle reminder that for all of you out there, that this event is part of our Microsoft Reactor Code of Conduct. So just take some time to read, go through it. Just be kind, be friendly, be welcoming and respectful, and most importantly, feel free to share your voice and your perspective. We have the chat box here, so please feel free to share your thoughts, ask us any questions, and we're all about that audience participation, and we always encourage that. So feel free to ask us any questions, share your thoughts alongside, and we will be reading them and answering them as we go. And with that, I think let's go ahead and start. So before we start, if you're not familiar, we would like to inform you that we've just conducted a very exciting announcement, a very excited week for Microsoft Build. Microsoft has recently announced so many amazing new features and tools that developers can use and benefit from and explore as well. So maybe you can go to the next slide, Gomo. So we had some amazing keynote announcements in Microsoft Build. Obviously, I could not choose which one was my favorite, because there were so many, ranging from creating native apps for multiple platforms, as well as migrating to the Azure cloud, and even building collaborative experiences on Teams. Now, personally, as Hadil, it was very hard for me to choose my personal favorite Microsoft Build announcement. But if I had to choose one of them that clearly caught my eye, it was building collaborative apps for Teams. So obviously, as you guys know, we all use Teams because it is an important tool for hybrid workers. Now, Microsoft basically announced the tool, the Live Share tool, for developers that can build apps for users to benefit from, where they can basically edit, annotate, and share content between each other in various ways. So I thought that was really cool, and that was very interesting. And it was only one of many of my favorite announcements, but we can talk about this forever. But for now, I'm very intrigued to know what Sumile's new favorite Microsoft Build announcement. If you can share with us what your new announcement is and why, and then maybe Gomalamo would like to share his as well.
Yeah, definitely. So Microsoft Build, like you said, Hadil, was really, really packed with a lot of new things that were announced, which I really loved. So one of my favorite things that was actually announced during Build was the power that has been given to people who are using the Power Platform. So what am I talking about really? The Express Design was one of the new announcements, new features that are added onto the Power Platform, specifically onto Power Apps. So what am I talking about really with Express Design, which is something that we'd actually see today when we are going through the session. But just a brief overview is that Express Design, you are able to build apps either from an image that you've taken, if you drew a picture or drew a form of your liking, and then you can upload it onto Power Apps and it can build an app for you. And also designing an app or building an app from a Figma design. Again, we'll go through these things along the session again. I'm also really, really interested to actually understanding and knowing what Homo's favorite announcement was, because those are really, really, really great things that were announced during Build. And like Hadil said, we can't really go through all of them. What I just mentioned is just one of many. Homo, what was your favorite announcement during Build?
Yeah, sure. Both of what you guys have said is actually quite interesting. And I think it's a testament to the fact that at Microsoft, with the various Microsoft tools that we have, like Microsoft Teams, which is part of the larger M365 family of products, it is a great testament to the idea that for improved performance and productivity, all the tools that you use should integrate seamlessly together. So one of my favorite announcements is the introduction of Power Pages, which is a low-code tool that is used to build external-facing websites within the Power Platform. I don't want to spill too much of that right now, because it is one of the products which we will be showcasing here for you today. So I think it's best for me to just go into that part of our presentation. So with the Power Pages, this is a low-code development and hosting platform used to build low-code sites on the Power Platform, low-code external-facing sites. These sites are usually very business-centric, and they allow low-code makers and professional devs to design and configure and publish sites for both desktop and mobile through a fluid visual low code experience. These are external facing sites, like I am said, and so your customers can engage and add context to your business data as well. A lot of the products within the Power Platform are usually for internal usage or internal business usage. So with this is a great way for your customers to add that contextual data to your business through these external facing sites. Now, as we move on to the next slide, you may be wondering why a product like this is needed and what problems could it be solving. So as you may know, there are a vast number of challenges that come with common web development. So many web devs face these challenges when it comes to building websites or web apps, some of which are now on screen, as you can see. And to highlight just a few of these challenges, there may be some difficulty finding balance between functionality and simplicity when using such products. As much as we want our websites or web apps to be as functional as possible, we want the user experience to be simple and user-friendly, so that most of the time when people are using these products, they are able to do what they need to do quickly. It's very common for us as devs to put as much function as we can to make sure that these sites work well. But at times we do that at the expense of a good user experience. And this sort of bleeds into the many friction points that are related to user experience and completing basic tasks or poor responsiveness when making these websites. Another one I wanted to highlight here is the fact that most customers don't have the time, the skills, or the budget to obtain custom coding web development skills. And that's where the product comes in handy. If we can bring this low code, low entry to like this low barrier to entry product to the people who understand the ins and outs of the specific business use case, then we are then able to get these platforms, these websites, these apps built at a much more faster rate. Another one, which I think is very crucial, especially when you are exposing your data to external users, is the aspect of security. This is one where a lot of you might feel is quite important when dealing with such a product. But with this, you can rest very easily knowing that you'll be securely collecting and sharing business data with site visitors using the Microsoft Dataverse, which is a smart and secure and scalable low-code data platform that is the backbone, really, of the entire Power Platform. And Power Pages runs on Microsoft Azure and connects with the Dataverse to provide critical security for your websites. And as we move on to the next slide here, we can see that there are thousands of use cases that have been identified, but there is no proper solution as we speak. So coming from speaking about the various challenges that we may face, low-code platforms can fill this gap. Like I said, there might be a couple of constraints that does not allow for custom web development to come in handy here. And this is where these low-code tools really prosper. Previously, Power Pages existed as a feature within the Power Apps itself called Power Apps Portals. It was one of the sub-features of Power Apps, along with Canvas apps and model-driven apps. But now, Power Pages is a fifth standalone member of the Power Platform family, which makes it a standalone offering within the Power Platform portfolio as a whole. And this is good because now we can uniquely update this product as a standalone model. And as of right now, this preview has brand new features such as a new design studio with various workspaces, an improved trial and site creation process, as well as templates and a learning hub, which again, I will highlight in just a few minutes here. And with that, right, this is what the new Power Platform looks like, right? We have 5 standalone apps with supporting services such as AI Builder and Dataverse, which makes it a very robust platform, which is fully equipped to build amazing solutions for your business at increased rates. Now, with all of that talking out the way, I think it would be best to showcase a demo. I don't know what you guys think about that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I think it would be best to show us a demo, walk us through all Power Pages, what the platform is all about, and maybe then, like if you have any questions, if the audience has any questions, they can drop it in the chat because the demo is the best way to go, I believe.
Sure. I really think that, showing is better than telling. And you might pick up on a few things that you want to ask questions about. If you do want to ask any questions, like we've said, feel free to put that into chat and we will be sure to answer some of those at the end of our session here. So let's go right on ahead with that demo. Let's open up my browser here. I hope everything in the browser is visible. This is basically the Power Pages Design Studio. Once you create an account, this is where you will then be led to. And how you create that account is, if you go to the Power Pages overview website, which is powerpages.microsoft.com, this is where you'll be able to sign up for a free trial to create a Power Pages site. It has all the information that you need. And then what you would do is, in the top right-hand corner, there's a try free button. You would just click on that button there, and then you'll be able to enter in your email address to attach this trial to whatever tenants you may have. So the email that you input here needs to either be a work or a school account, or an existing account that has a Power Platform license. If you do not have a work or school account and you really want to try create a Power Page, what you can do is, the first step is you can join the Microsoft 365 developer program. How you get to here, you go to aka.ms/m365 dev accounts. That will take you to this page where you can create a free developer account where you can do all sorts of things. And one of those things is to create a Power Apps developer environment, right? If you don't have a license and you don't have a work or a school account, but you really want to try Power Apps as well as Power Pages, you are then able to access that through the developer plan. To get to here is aka.ms/Power Apps Dev Plan. And as soon as you come in, after you've created your account, you just go to existing user and add that dev environment, and you can get started building your Power Pages straight away. It's also good to note that this does come with a Dataverse environment, and that is very crucial when creating your Power Pages. So once all that is done and you've registered for the Power Pages trial, then it'll take you to this Power Pages Design Studio. It's a very simple design studio. We have our homepage here where we create our sites. And any sites that you have created in the past will appear here with a very rich thumbnail to show the site that you are building, so you are able to identify some of those. We also have a templates section. Over here is where we can see all the various templates that span the various use cases that you might have in your business. So scheduling, process tracking, and other such templates. There aren't that many right now. Again, this is a preview product, but be sure to keep checking back here, and you will see more templates in this space over here. And I think one of the best parts about this is that we have a learning hub right within the design studio itself. We have a bunch of documents, videos that will take you to the various processes of creating a Power Page. So we have what are Power Pages, what are some of its features, how to create and manage such websites. And then once you have gotten started, you can then go into some of the training videos, right? Like, so designing your homepage, how to do your brand kits and that kind of thing. And all of these components here really take you through the various steps of your first websites. So designing and building, connecting to a Dataverse to connect to data that turns your website into a web app, how to customize it, how to make sure that your data is secure. And then they have a go live checklist to make sure that everything is right before your site goes live, as well as a section to administer and monitor your site once it is live. So I like that the Learn space here is sort of telling of the process that you'll have once you create your website. So let's just go into our home page here and let's see what it means to create a site. So we'll just click on create a site. That will take us to this page where we can then choose a template that we want. So let's go ahead and choose this template. You'll then be able to see what that template looks like in both desktop as well as mobile. So again, very responsive to the various form factors that you might have. Then let's go ahead and choose that template. And it's as easy as creating a name for your site. So you can write any name that you want here. Once you have that name in the site, then we'll click on done. So let's say we have, let's just do site template here. Once you have that name, you can choose the type of you can choose your URL. And then once you have that, you just click on done. Once you click on done, it'll take some time to provision the site for you. So for the sake of time and the sake of this demo, I'll just go out of this. And once you click on done, if you do click on done, it will take you to your main site page. So I'm just going to open up a page that I created a bit earlier on just to speed up that process. So as we get things ready in our site's studio here, you will notice the first thing is that we have 4 main workspaces. And I'm going to quickly run through what some of these workspaces are so that you get to understand how exactly it is to create a site. So on the pages workspace, the very first workspace, you have all the pages within your sites. So if you just expand here, you'll see that all these pages are here at the very top. Let's bring that back. You have the home, you have the pages. So again, we have this, which acts as a drop down, as we can see there. Again, that is all. You can configure all of that in our pages site over here. Let's say I want to move the contact us page to be under pages, right? So let's drag and drop there to pages, or let me just do this. Move up, right? What we can do is you'll see that will then change the order of your pages in your nav bar. So all you have to do is change the order in your pages workspace, and that will change around how you want this to be. In the same breath, if you create a new page by clicking on that plus icon there and name your page, maybe you want a page for your customers to register, and you add that before, after choosing one of these layouts here, that page will be added to this navigation stack where you'll be able to rearrange it so that it fits in your nav bar there. So that is a pretty simple process. Once you have your page, let's click on home. Once we click on home, we will then be able to see what that home looks like, right? Fairly simple template that you can actually go in and edit right in the design studio itself. So let's see. We have various images here. We have text. We have buttons. All of these are familiar to you if you've been building websites, or even if you've been building Power Apps. So for example, if I want to change this image over here, I just click into that and we have this context menu that pops up. If I click on this image, I'm able to choose any one of the images in my library, or upload an image from an external source or from your PC itself. So let's change that logo. Let's press OK, and then that image will change, right? Same thing for this header text that I have here. Again, we click into it. There's this context menu here. We can change that to whatever type of text that we want there. So let's change that back to title. We can, of course, highlight this and make it bold. We can use all of these features in this context menu, just like you would in a Microsoft Word document or a Power App. So it's fairly simple to use. So again, if you want to edit that, just highlight that, and then we can be like, all you do is type in, and that makes the change instantly in your design studio there. Right. So the same thing with sections. If you see, as I'm moving my mouse around, you'll see these plus signs that keep popping up. Maybe I want to add a section here. All I do is just click on that plus sign. This layout comes up. So I'll click on one column there, and I'm able to add all these different elements, right? So text, button, image, video, whatever have you. For example, if I want to click a video, that video is input there into my home screen. And if I click on this context menu here, I'm able to do it either from YouTube, from Microsoft Stream, or any external URL, and that video will show up inside of your website. So if I want to delete this section, I just go into my menu there and click on delete. It's as simple as that, to add sections, elements, whatever you want on your web page. Again, we have text. So with this text, let's see if we can change some of this text. Again, we click into it. Let's do that. If I want to add some additional text, I just click that plus sign. Here are all my elements. Then I click the text. Again, I have some text ready here. So what we can do is we highlight that, we paste in the text that we have. Okay, let's change the color because it's a bit hard to see. There's this color wheel that you can choose. Same thing with your buttons, right? You can click this button. Maybe you want the button to say, right, you want them to register for our events. Let's click on register. You can either link that button to a page or to a URL. Whatever you want your site to do, you can do inside of this design studio here. Let's click OK. You can even change the styling of that page, right? We have the primary and the secondary styling that we have here. So it's very, very cool to just click into the various elements and have that change inside of your Power page. And again, we have this preview page or this preview button on the right here. We just click on that. We can view that either on desktop or on mobile. And if you go to desktop, it'll open that site up, and you can see all the changes that we've made there. Very, very simple. We also have the styling workspace over here. Let's just click into that. And this allows us to change the styles of the websites. Maybe I want this scheme, or I want this one. But then even though we have the templates here, you are then able to change these color palettes to whatever you want them changed to. And you can add your own colors to create your own palette there. Same thing goes for all of the elements within your site. If I want all my headings to be a certain font, I can change that, my weight, my size. Again, full control over all the content in your site. The next workspace we have is data. Let's discard those changes. The next space we have is data. This is where we turn our websites into web apps, which is powered by data, which sits on the Dataverse platform. Again, if you're familiar with Dataverse, with adding tables and forms and views, it's the exact same experience here inside of Power Pages as well. We have the views, which translate to lists and tables on your website, as well as forms, which I think you understand what forms are, just used for people to input information, which you can then save into Dataverse. And then we also have the setup workspace, right? Here we can do a whole host of things. We have the identity providers here. If you want to authorize the users in your app with various services, we have table permissions where you can set how certain people see certain data on your website. You don't want all your customers to see all your sensitive data. So you can set those permissions for each table, for each form inside of this section. We have a progressive web app feature, which was in portals, that is coming to pages very soon, and other admin centric features that are not in the preview, but should be coming soon as well. And just before I close up here, we also have a section here that deals with sort of if you want to extend your Power Page to much more than just a website, you can add flows that work from certain triggers. For example, if someone registers on your website, you can set up a flow that sends you an email or writes a message up on Teams. Whatever sort of automation you want to add to your site can be done through flows. And then we have the portal management for a much more advanced experience. Maybe you want to upload custom fonts for all your attributes, or custom CSS style sheets for a custom color scheme. That is all manageable in the portal management app. So that's just a brief overview of what Power Pages is. Again, if you want a more in-depth overview of each of these sections, there will be a link to a session at the end of the session that we'll be gladly share with you after this.
Thank you, Gomolemo, for the amazing demonstration and presentation. Personally, I've learned a lot on Power Pages, on the Power Pages profile. I mean, it's very easy to use. You can customize it to your own liking. You can literally do everything yourself from A to Z because of how easy it is and because of, all these amazing features and tools and all that. So thank you again. I have a quick question for you.
Sure.
So since tables within the Dataverse contain internal data, can we limit certain fields from being seen by external users?
Yeah, sure. So in one of the workspaces that I showed you set up, there's a section there called table permissions. So you can create tables that contain your data, and then under those tables you have views and you have forms, right? So views, they directly translate to lists on your site, where you are able to show data to users, and forms will translate to data entry, where customers can then input whatever information they have, their personal things or their registration fields. And if you want to make sure that your sensitive data is not seen by these external customers, you are then able to go into that permissions workspace and configure certain permissions for certain users. So it's not just external users, also internal users, various admins, various people within your organization as well. So I think in terms of that, Power Pages is a good platform to use, especially if you're concerned about the security of your data.
Yeah. Perfect. Sounds great. And regarding adding our own custom domain, is that possible to do in Power Pages?
Yes, it is possible. That will be a feature that will be available once the product goes GA, or it's available for you to use as a production site. I think
Mhm.
it's important to remember that Power Pages in itself is still in preview, and all of these things that people are thinking about are in the works, especially when it comes to custom domains. Because if you have a site that's linked to a business or a brand, you want to
Yeah.
make sure that it's part of your brand by enabling custom domains. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Sounds great. And my last question before we close off and move to the other part of the session is, Gomo, in your opinion, how can developers benefit most from Power Pages? You know, it's one of the most amazing new tools that have been announced and built with all the amazing features, so easy to use, customizable to your own liking. But how can developers benefit most, in your opinion?
Sure. When it comes to pro devs, there's a lot of opportunity for them to collaborate with citizen devs when creating these websites. And there are they all of these advanced capabilities are enabled within the studio itself. Maybe if you want to customize some of the business data using JavaScript, Liquid templates, or even web APIs, you can do that with Visual Studio Code. That's something that I think will appeal to pro devs, as well as in the design portal itself. You are able to switch between a code and visual design space for that pixel perfect UI. So there's lots of opportunities for pro devs to collaborate when building these pages.
Great. And we have a question here really quickly in the chat. Paul asked, is the licensing available yet?
Sure. So when it comes to licensing, again, this product is currently in preview.
Yeah.
So it's a free trial for everyone to use. However, if you want to really like stick with the portals that you have now or the websites that you have now, the existing Power Portals licensing model still is the same as of right now. Once Power Pages becomes GA, or once it's available for everyone and you can use it to create production ready sites, then that licensing model will either stay the same as Power Portals or it will change. I think for that, we'll have to wait until it becomes available for that licensing model to be perfectly clear.
Yeah, I totally agree. You know, because it's in preview mode now, so we have to wait until it's GA and then you can see. But you can stay tuned on the website and all that. You know, just it will be announced eventually because, as
Yeah.
we said, it's in preview mode now. So you know, just have an eye on the Power Pages profile or website, and you know, eventually you will hear all about it for sure. With that, thanks so much, Gomalemo, for your part
Sure.
for leading this session. And now we will move on to the other part of the session, which Someleze will lead, and it is all about what's new in the Express design. Someleze, it's all in your hands now.
Right. Thank you so much, Hadil. And that was just amazing with Power Pages. It got me so excited seeing that you can actually build sites and actually customize them, and it offers a lot more flexibility when you have Power Pages as its own product on the Power Platform. So I hope you are all excited again for the next part, which is Express Design, right? But before we can actually understand what's new with Express Design and all these new features that come with Express Design, we need to understand what Express Design really is and what it really means. So take it for an example, you are just trying to make an app, right? So the app making journey typically involves a design phase to plan out what the app should look like, for an example. Whether the design is based on an existing paper form, a whiteboard drawing, or even an image of a legacy app, it can take a considerable amount of time to build the app from scratch. I know this quite from experience. So within Express Design, we actually have an image to app feature where you can create an app from a visual design and connect it to data through a few simple steps in the guided interface. Right. With image to app, right, it's one of the two options that are available within Express Design, which is image to app and Figma to app. What do these two mean? Let's start off with image to app. Right. So you've heard that the app journey actually involves making an app through a design phase to actually plan it out. So what happens with the image to app feature is that, like I mentioned earlier on, you can take a picture, for an example, of a form that you drew on a piece of paper and then upload it within Power Apps with this new feature, and will create a new screen for you. One thing to note though is that with the image app to feature, it actually allows you to have one screen when you build your app. What do I mean? You are advised to not use complex drawings or complex forms. You need to have a very simple basic form so that your app features can be able to be translated correctly onto your app. So with the image app to feature, again, it only allows you to have one screen on your application. Okay, how do we go around this specific limitation with image to app? You can use the Figma to app feature where you are able to design your own prototype of your app, whether it has one screen or multiple screens. The Figma to app, using Figma, can allow you to actually have a design that you properly designed, and it looks proper, and your user interface looks beautiful. And you can use this and create this design using the Create Apps from Figma UI kit. So it provides you with supported components for Power Apps, and it includes detailed instructions to how to use the kit. Once the designs are created, simply you can provide the link to the Figma design file, and Power Apps will generate a new Canvas app on those designs. The design frames are automatically converted into screens in the Power App. So what happens is that you can have multiple screens on your design or your prototype using Figma, and then once you put it back into Power Apps, it can actually have multiple screens, which is running away from the limitation we have with the image to app feature. Again, those two features are actually in preview mode. So all of the new ideas that you guys have, and you want to actually create apps using these features, but you cannot really create apps that are going to go on production because these new features are still in preview. So you need to note that as we go along, get more feedback from you guys, get more developers on the road using these new features. We'll be able to gather feedback and actually add more and run away from a number of limitations that you guys might find. Okay, we've been talking quite a lot about what image to app feature is and what a Figma to app feature is. What's next? The next part is for me to show you how these actually work. This is the reason why I'm talking about this, is because it's very exciting for me to see how we can build Power Apps with just a few clicks of buttons, right? Obviously, even towards back in the past, we were able to just click on a blank app and drag and drop specific features and add some functionality that we needed in the past. But with those new features, we can actually extend it more and make it much more usable. This helps teams around the world to actually be inclusive of people who do not have a technical background and actually are pressed on time. So you have a design that you either saw on a meeting and was put on a whiteboard, and you take a picture of that, you upload it using the image to app feature, and then it just creates a form for you, automates that form for you, right? So that's what it is talking about. These two new features are actually the next best thing within Power Apps. So let me show you. When you head to make.powerapps.com, you will see that there's two additional options that are added on the homepage, or if you click on create, it will ask you the normal ones, which is you can create the app from blank, or you can create it from your data source, which is Dataverse or SharePoint or Excel or SQL Server. The two new options, which is what I just mentioned earlier on, which is the image to app and Figma to app features, are the ones that we're going to be using today. All right, let's start off with the image to app. So you can click on image, where it'll give you this dialog box where it guides you on which kinds of forms that you need to use whenever you want to use this feature. So currently, when you look at those two forms that are presented to you, the recommendations is that use a simple form. Again, don't use a very complex form that has colored backgrounds and has a lot of things going on in the form. Just use a simple form so that your features that you want on your app or your form on the app to be properly curated onto the app that you're going to be building. Right. So again, don't use complex forms and forms with colored backgrounds, forms with underlined input text boxes. Right. I'm going to go ahead and click on next because I want to show you really the power of this feature. When we go to next, you're presented with a set of steps that you have to complete so that you can be able to use this feature. Firstly, you need to provide an image for this app that you want to build. So again, the form, a very simple form that you'll be using, either a picture that you're going to upload from your device or a picture that you took during a meeting, you are going to upload it here. And we have another option right on this feature that you are able to start with a sample image, right? Upload your own or start with the sample image. For this specific purpose, we can start with the sample image, right? So first, I'm just going to name my app. So you'll see that the set of options that are available to you when you start with the sample is that you have a registration form, you have an appointment scheduler, you have an event survey, and so forth. So again, I'm going to choose whichever one that I like, which is the appointment scheduler currently, and then you are asked to choose a format for your application. Obviously, when I choose this specific form, right, when you see the preview of this form, it looks like it can actually work properly on the phone. So again, Power Apps would then recommend the phone layout or phone format to me so that I can be able to create my app. Again, if I want to choose a tablet form, there's nothing stopping me to do that. I can be able to use the tablet format and then design the application however I see fit. So, right, I've chosen my form. Now I'm choosing the format of my application. Now I have to click on next. The next step onto your application or the app that you want to design is the components that are going to be on your app or on the form that's going to be on your app. Right. So we used a form from the sample forms that are provided to us or a form that you upload. You would notice that when you get to the step, you will see that a lot of things are actually tagged. So for an example, on our form, we have a title, we have the first name, last name, and then we have a few boxes here and there. So if I hover over the title of my form currently, it will be tagged as label or text label. These tags actually are similar from the ones that you find as the controls within Power Apps when you build your own Canvas app. Again, this specific feature, what I love about it is that I've played around with AI Builder in the past. And with AI Builder, what I've noticed is that it has object detection or the object detector. And I'm noticing when you're using this new feature, which is image to app, and you want to specify the components of your app, you are literally using the same process as the object detector. So currently on the screen on your form, it will be detecting specific objects. In this case, we have tags, whether it's a text label or a text input, which is your text box, or radio buttons. So you can see right here at the options, the different options that are here, and all of those radio buttons that were on my form are tagged as a radio button. So what happens when it doesn't really take those specific components on your form and tag them properly? So you can see right on the screen, when I hover down the selected date box, it actually says it's a text input. So what should you do when you are faced with such a problem? So it's very easy. You can click on the label itself or on the component itself, and then it'll ask you to assign a component. So that means it'll ask you to actually tag your component properly. So from the list of options that are here, I will choose date picker because our component or control on our form is for us to actually select a date, and it's not a text input. We do not want people to type the date down. Instead, we want them to choose and select from a calendar. So we can use the date picker, and you can see right on the side, it will tell you all of the tags that are being used within your form. And then you'll see at the bottom that your button is tagged as a button. Again, if you do this from a drawing, you are able to specify that this is a button. Either you can probably a little bit of shade and then show it that it's actually a button towards the bottom of your form. So what's next? When you click on next, it'll ask you for data. So most of the time you're asking yourself, right, I am building this specific form and I'm uploading it from an image or an image that I took in the office and I had a meeting. Now we need specific information from that form and we need to store it into a specific data source. So in this case, with this image to app feature, you are able to specify your app's data source, which is in this case, you can create a new table within Dataverse for your form. Obviously, you can still add more data sources into it, but in this case, you are able to create a new table in Dataverse so that it can be specific to your form, or you can skip the step. So I'm going to go ahead and click on next because I'm choosing to create a new table in Dataverse. And then the next step, right, because I want to show you all the full step-by-step process of uploading an image and making it into an app using Power Apps. It'll give me a next step where I need to specify the columns of my app. So you can see again where first name would be tagged as a column. What you're going to see is that right here, when I click on first name and I click on this entire tag, it will show you that the display name of my column is first name and the data type or the column type is actually text, which is correct, and so forth for every other one that you find on your form. Obviously, if you want to correct that, you can be able to correct it just like how we did it in the previous step when we corrected our components on the app. Again, just to double check our date because it gave us problems previously. So we'll check select date as a display name, and also the data type would be date, which is perfect. So this table will be then created for us within Dataverse, and when the app is created for you, you will be able to find that table integrated with your app. Right. So what's the next step? The only thing now that you need to do is to click on next, review that all of the columns that you have on your screen and on your form are going to a specific column within this table that is going to be created within Dataverse, and then they are actually having the right data type or column type. And if you are happy with all of those selections, you can click on create. Right. So this may take a while of creating your app. It will take about 2 minutes. So what I want to show you, right, while it's still creating our application, the only thing it will do is just create the app, show us the screen of how the app looks like based off of that form. What I want to show you actually is the Figma to app feature while we wait for that to load up and create our application. So this one offers us more flexibility and more options. What do I mean? So if you click on this specific feature, it will ask you for your app name, the link to Figma page or frame, the Figma personal access token, the format of your application that you're trying to create. Right. So you're new to these new features and you're using the Figma to app feature and you don't understand all of these. What does this mean? What's the link to Figma page or frame? What's the Figma personal access token? So how can you get this? You can go to www.figma.com and you can create your own profile there, and then you can start creating any designs that you would like your app to look like if you haven't used Figma before. What I want you to note is that even with this specific feature, when you see on this dialog box, when you're being asked for the app name and all of these other details, you can see right here, there's a small text that is telling you or giving you specific advice on you can design an app using the Figma UI kit, which I mentioned on during the slide presentation. So I'm just going to click on this link, which will take us to the Figma UI kit on figma.com. So the Figma UI kit actually is for creating apps from Figma, creating Power Apps from Figma. It has a step-by-step detailed guide on how you can create apps from Figma and what the kit is and all the different options that are available within the kit. So what do I mean? I mean, what is the kit? What are the different components that are supported when you use Figma, so that you can create your app and then go back to Power Apps? What are the different components that are supported? Which components are not supported within Figma? So if I can zoom in quickly here and then just drag it here so you can read it from here, it seems more of a PDF file where you can go through all these different details about the Figma kit, the Figma UI kit, right? So you want to create your application using the Figma kit, and you see all of these different options and the different details that are provided to you on the UI kit. For an example, a sample app page, which we will use during the presentation, and the main components for your application, right? So what I want to do is, when you want to create your app from Figma and using the sample app that we have on the UI kit, you can just quickly click on duplicate, which this would create a Figma page for you, right? It'll create a Figma page for you, having all of the information that is within the UI kit. So for an example, what the kit is about, and also what components are supported, and the sample app that I'm talking about, right? And also, you are able then, whenever you use Figma, the UI kit, right? So we can just skip this part. You can see that it actually just gives you and provides you a page or a frame. So this is currently a page where we've duplicated that page, and you can see all of the different information about it. So on the left-hand side of the screen, so that we can be able to do this and be able to create our app from Figma using the sample app, you'll see that on the left-hand side of the screen, our UI kit has different pages, and it has the cover, which is ticked right now. That's where we are. And then it has all of these other different options, which is read this first and getting started with Figma, right? So if I can click on get started with Figma, you can see on the screen that it's giving me an overview about what Figma is and how you can create your app from Figma. And probably you're not seeing this, but at the bottom end of the screen, it actually shows the supported features or supported components, the supported components of the Figma design that you're going to use onto Power Apps. So currently, the ones that are not supported are charts, galleries, icons, shapes, and tables. So to remind you, when you are designing your application or designing your Figma UI, you can either put pictures as placeholders for the specific components and controls, so that when it gets curated onto Power Apps, you are able to then replace those image files or image components with the actual components that you want, like for an example, a gallery, an icon, or shapes or charts. So, right, that is it about the UI kit, and it's all guidelines and all the information that you get from there. Now you want to actually create the application using a Figma kit, right? So I'm going to scroll there towards the bottom, and I'm going to see sample app, right? We have a sample app within the UI kit where you can just build an application based off the sample app if you're starting off, so that you can get a feel of the feature. The sample app provides you with 3 screens. So you can see at the top, you're provided with a screen name, which is start, sign up, and thank you. So those are the 3 different screens that this Figma design sample app has, right? But we do not want this to stay on Figma. We want it onto our Power App. How do we go about doing that? So if we go right back to Power Apps and see that dialog box that says Canvas app from Figma, it'll ask you for an app name. So what I'm going to do is just name the app. And then notice something. It says the link to page or frame. So link to Figma page or frame. If we go back to Figma, this is actually a page. Like I did mention to you earlier on, if you see on the left-hand side of the screen, there's pages. So there's different pages here. We actually want the simple app page. What can you do to actually get the link for this simple app page? You can right-click on it. You can copy the link to page, and then that's it. You go back to Power Apps, you paste it in, right? That's it. Notice that we actually have a second part or a third option where we need to provide a personal access token. How do we get that on Figma? Because it's not a personal access token that you get from Power Apps, but it's a Figma personal access token. So if we go back to Figma, to access your personal access token is that you would then need to go to your profile. So currently, if you click on your profile and you are on the design page, it will not go to settings, it will not give you options to go to settings. So if we go back to the Figma homepage where we currently landed on when we saw our Figma UI kit, you'll see at the top right corner, there is my profile there. And then you can click on settings, and then you click on account. Instead of community, you click on account, you scroll towards the bottom, and you will find that there's personal access tokens. And then it says create new personal access token. Right. How do you create your personal access token? Is there any more steps that you need to provide? No, not really. You just need to provide either a general name for your personal access token that will be meaningful to you when you're building your design, your Figma design, and also your application. So I'm just going to put this name since I'm really using it for everything. And then right afterwards, after you've named your personal access token, what's the next step? Because you see on the screen, there's no personal access token given to you. If I press enter, it just takes away that text, and then there's a small dialog box that shows you your personal access token, where you are able to click on copy this token. So I'm going to go ahead and click on copy this token. That's how you create your personal access token on Figma, and then go back to Power Apps. When you get to Power Apps, you just paste it in. Then you would then need to specify the format for your application that is going to be created from your Figma design. Again, if we go back to Figma, you need to always note how your design looks like on Figma. So currently, if you see the sample app, it actually looks like a portrait or a phone layout. So we need to specify the phone format within Power Apps. So you click on phone and then you click on create. So that's it. That's how you get your Figma design from Figma and put it onto Power Apps, and then it will start creating your application. So while that's creating the application, let's check our friend right over there when we created our application from an image. What you will see, if I just quickly just choose any country here, because I'm using my developer environment, click on get started. So right here, it looks like it created the application, but then again wanted to start from data. So if you go back here, you will see that our application is getting created from the Figma UI kit, and you will see the 3 different screens that you saw from this Figma design that you see on this screen. Right? Even with the image to app feature, you just go through all of those different steps where you specify the image, the components, and then you connect it to your data source or Dataverse. Currently, it will create your new table, and then you tag your components, you specify the columns and the column types, and then right afterwards, you just create an app, and it will create an app with one screen. So in this case, if I click on skip for our Figma design, you can see that our Figma design is actually now made into an actual Power App, where you see that on the tree view where you see the different screens, you can see there's a start screen, there's a sign up screen, and there is the thank you screen. So all of the different screens that we saw on our Figma design are all curated within Power Apps. The thank you screen is here as well. So one thing I would like for you to note is that if you use those 2 different features within Power Apps and you create your application from an image or you create it from a Figma design, is that as much as you have all of these buttons placed onto your user interface or your application's user interface, currently, if you can see on the screen, as much as you have it, it does not really necessarily come with your specific functions that you think it will create your functions for you. But no, you need to add in those. So for an example, if you want, for an example, to save data into your data source and you want to send that data to your data source, on the on select, you still need to use the same process and the same steps that you do whenever you're creating your apps using a Canvas app, where you specify either your patch function, or if you have a screen that displays data, you can either specify your filter function so that you can add functionality to your application. These two features are there to just translate your user interface or your user interface design either from the image that you provided using the image to app feature, or a Figma design that you created using the Figma to app feature, and then put it into an actual Power App. The functionality then is something that you yourself would then provide for your application. So basically, that's how these two work. And it really got me excited to actually see how you can easily create applications. Like, for an example, the image to app feature. If I'm in a meeting and then someone draws a form and they want it automated, I can take a picture of that form, a simple form, upload it into Power Apps, create an app, connect it to data, or create a new table for it, or just skip that step and just create a form and present it to them. And if I have a Figma design, if for people who actually use Figma for prototyping, you do not have to go through the painful process of having to translate your design from Figma onto Power Apps from scratch. You just need to link it up with the links from your Figma page and also your personal access token, and then you have a working app. So that is it for my demo for today. And I hope everyone enjoyed it and everyone was excited to hear about Power Pages and Express Design, right? I would just like to get it back to you, Hadil. This was really wonderful to showcase what I'm really excited about within Power Apps.
Wow, thank you so much, Malaysia. I mean, I can't even explain how amazing Express Design is all about. I mean, creating an application only from uploading an image or from a drawing, that to me shows how technology is heading next level, and more to come. So thank you so much for the amazing presentation and the demonstration. I definitely personally learned a lot. I'm pretty sure the audience did as well. So thank you for that. And so, right now we've talked about Power Pages and Express Design, and so you might be wondering, so what's next? So we have in the next slide some resources, useful links and resources that you guys can go through at your own pace for more further learning. I would definitely recommend you guys to go and have a look at the book of news for Microsoft Build, where it basically highlights all the amazing new announcements that have been announced at Microsoft Build 2022. So have a look at that, see what excites you, see what's new, just so you can stay up to date with what new Microsoft tools we have on the platform. And some other useful links are mostly Microsoft documents from our Microsoft Learn platform, which I definitely highly recommend for you guys to check out. We have all topics ranging from data science, AI, machine learning, Power Apps, Power BI, everything you could think of, Microsoft Azure, anything that you're interested in, like any tech topic, you will definitely find there. And it's all free learning resources that you guys can all benefit from and, further learn at your own pace. And also don't forget to join our community on our meetup group. Our meetup group, just search Microsoft Reactor Middle East and Africa. That's where you will find us. Before we close off, I have a question to Someleze that I was postponing, and that is, Someleze, can you please let us know how can developers benefit most from Express Design? I mean, it's crazy and amazing that you can convert an image to an app and Figma to an app, but what is the best way, in your opinion, as an expert in this field, how can they benefit from Express Design?
Yeah, so that's a very wonderful question. So with the Express Design, it actually benefits when you are within a team. It benefits teams so much because normally you are time pressed, like I mentioned earlier on. Whenever you're building applications, you are always on a timed basis, where you are trying to reach a specific deadline, specific parts of the application are due. So for an example, if there's an additional feature that needs to be added onto application, so either a form, you are able to actually use these new features by uploading that design onto Power Apps, and then it will be created for you within Power Apps, and it will be a Power App. So again, with the collaboration amongst teams for both pro developers and citizen developers, always the time resource is actually something that is very valuable within different kinds of organizations, students as well. So whenever they are building projects and applications, they always think about time. So with these two new features within Power Apps, it actually helps you to leverage and use your time much more efficiently by just having designs that you already have either from Figma or an image and put them to Power Apps, and you have your application already built for you based on your designs.
Great. No, that's amazing. Thank you so much. I've learned a lot, as I said. Thank you for your time. And thank you to Gomalamo as well for joining me today. It has been a very valuable discussion and a session. I'm pretty sure, everyone will come out of this session, I hope, inspired. Feel free to, just try these new things, to explore them, because they're both in preview mode, so you can feel free just to explore and go through the links that we have. And just for anyone who joined us late, don't worry, you did not miss out. The session is recorded and it will be posted on demand on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, Microsoft Reactor. On YouTube, where we'll have also all the links in the description box for you to check out as well. So it will be uploaded maybe instantly, I think from 24 to 48 hours. And with that, I guess we're done. Thank you all so much for being here with us today. Thank you to the audience for the engagement and the questions. And thank you again, Gomalamo and Sumelezi, for being here with us today. And that's it. See you soon.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.